Hello, my name is Alex Watson. I'm from Salt Lake City, Utah, but have officially lived out in Los Angeles, California for 1 year. Before I moved out here, I was big on research. For me, when I research something and learn more about something, it makes me less nervous and I feel more prepared. However, the funny thing about moving out to LA is when I looked on YouTube or like articles and things like that, there wasn't a ton of information, which was really funny. Now don't get me wrong, if you type in tips on living in LA, you'll find a bunch of videos. But unfortunately, a lot of them are being quirky over the top, or trying to get subscribers and be funny, and a lot of them aren't too serious, unfortunately. So I thought, you know what? As I learn, as I collect information, I should make a video. And I should share this with you guys. I'm not looking for subscribers. I'm not looking for, I came out here to pursue writing and directing feature films. And so I decided to make an LA documentary. No bullshit. Just, this is what you get. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be brutally honest. And, a lot has changed over years, so I might cut back and forth between here, this video, and then videos I shot on my little phone. So, without further ado, here's the no bullshit Los Angeles documentary.
And one, two, yeah. Hey, this that type of vibe that make you quit your 9 to 5. I could envision my future fibbing in suit and tie. She said my musical visions will prove our suicide. But if you ain't really living, then can you truly die?
So a little bit of background about me before I moved to LA. I was living in Salt Lake City, Utah. I had a full-time job editing commercials and training videos for a company called Caption Call. And one day I was approached to make a fan film, a Star Wars fan film. And we won Audience Choice and Best Film at the Lucasfilm's Star Wars Fan Film Festival.
We here at the Star Wars Fan Film Awards are proud to award the Best Nonfiction Film to Journey of a Fan Film and Alex Watson.
If I ever won an award, there was someone who told me that I had to thank them or else they would hunt me down and kill me. Thank you, Mom, so much.
And after that, a lot of things started to turn in my head. I started to think, is this something I'm good at? Is this something that I have a full-time job and I loved it, every second of it. I started to direct a lot of things and write a lot of things more out of the necessity that I wanted to create something. And to be frank, I felt like I wanted to be an actor. I had improv experience and I loved doing improv. But eventually I come to find out that this was something much more, that I wanted to write and direct, and I started to realize that the stuff I was making, although I loved, it was on a smaller scale, and I thought that it was time to make a change and try and to really become a professional in my field. So I gathered up all my stuff. I quit my full-time, nice-paying, comfy job.
I just quit my job after 4 years of working here and 2 years as the video guy. I don't want to cry. Finally decided to take the big plunge, quit my steady-paying job, and I'm crazy. I'm crazy, Arthur.
Well, I mean, what is that got to do with anything?
Just my last day of work, no big deal. Thank you. I want to document this moment because I want my future self to know that the hard part, it's not going to be easy, but the hard part, I feel, is past. Well, you're right in the middle of it right now, but hopefully in the future it'll be a little bit easier. So moving to LA is a big step, and let's let's do some work.
I moved first to Cedar City, where I got to develop what I've always wanted to do. Is kind of like a bucket list before I left. Develop a little web series called Funny Side Up with my friends. But before I just moved out, I felt the need to go and look for places. If you can afford this, I really highly recommend it. I don't know if you can see me. So day one of looking for apartments in LA. A couple things I learned. Number one, no one believes in fridges here. Refrigerators are non-existent in a lot of places. Secondly, people are really good at taking pictures and making it look like the apartment is one way when it's actually the other. Yeah. What else did I learn? I learned that there's a lot of apartments, but a lot of people live there. Ventura seems to be a really good street, and a lot of people like to live by there. Yeah, I came out here using Airbnb, staying with a really awesome person, and it's nice to kind of just fill the city out and see where I'm headed. I think one of the big things I learned is trust my gut. There was a few times where the place looked good, but I just didn't feel right about it, and I don't know exactly what it was, but just trusted my instincts. Well, that was my last day. I'm heading home now, back to Utah. Yeah, like I said, learned about Trader Joe's. I learned that it's quite competitive sometimes about places in LA, especially when you find a gold gem on Craigslist. I found one that was up here in the Ventura Hills, which is a beautiful big house, surrounded by beautiful homes, and we'll see about that one. I don't really, like I said, he was showing people almost every hour, so yeah, there was that one. I also learned that there's some people that want you just to come live with them and not sign a contract or just move right in, which sometimes that could be the best thing, and you could move whenever you needed to. Sometimes they just have the power, so if they start raising rent, you don't really have anything to protect you, but you could always just leave. Some people also, like me, I was pretty eager once I found a place to sign to do an application, just because I'm ready to move. Yeah, some people prefer to see everybody, some people don't. Some people just kind of like to see who they, like to sign applications for everyone who comes in. Some people only like to have people fill applications who they want, who they potentially want in there. So, let's see. If you're coming from out of state and you're not used to a hot, humid place, I'd say drink a lot of water. There were times that I wish I had to drink more water. Another thing I would suggest is there's some places here that one street looks awesome, the next street looks another street looks awesome, next street goes so when you go see an apartment and you're like, oh wow, this place is awesome, check your surroundings and kind of see where the neighborhood, always ask them about their neighborhood. Normally they're always going to tell you that their neighbors are quiet. But if they actually do bring up a few things, then they might actually be pretty trustworthy, because that was one thing I was worried. That was why I asked that question. I was more trying to see, German Shepherd. I was more trying to see how trustworthy they were. And the ones that actually said,
oh, not here, but a couple doors down, there's a musician who plays from like 1 to 3, but no one's ever allowed after 10. Or some people would say, really take the time and be like, okay, downstairs there's this person. The people who know people by names, that was kind of a good thing to say, is like they knew who their downstairs neighbor was, they knew who their next door neighbor was, they knew the guy 4 doors down. So 4 doors down. Anyway, so yeah, I submitted applications. They got to do some credit checks. I have really good credit, so know that you can find places that don't require good credit, but it's always on your favor if you have good credit. So I'm just gonna wait back to hear from those guys, and hopefully I'll be moving out June 1st. So hopefully we'll see you then.
The things I want to stress about what to look for. I would say try and find roommates that have your similar interests. Luckily, if you're moving out here, most of the time it's probably that way. If you do find someone who's like, I have nothing to do with the entertainment business, I don't want anything to do with the entertainment business, I'm not saying they're not good people, and definitely, feel out how they are, but just be wary that a lot of people won't understand your situation. And so for me, like when I'm a freelancer, when I tell people I'm going to be a freelancer, that sometimes scares people. So just keep that in mind. And another thing to keep in mind is a lot of people want to live here, and a lot of people do live here. So it'll be kind of frustrating, but just, like I said, Zillow was a huge one. Craigslist, always be careful about Craigslist. Never give out your information. Never pay anything up front, especially since you haven't seen the place. And, it's Craigslist. We've all heard the horror stories. But I found my first apartment on Craigslist. But see, I was able to go and meet and talk to the person and get a feel for them and how they live. Another thing that people use out here is something called Westside Rentals. In fact, there's a lot of places that you can't even apply for unless you have an account. If you can afford that or think that's worth that, do it. If you have friends or people out here, maybe you can find someone that can share your account. A lot of people do that this way. It's just a paid service that helps you find stuff. It's very helpful. Luckily, I didn't get to use it, but a lot of my friends have used it and found apartments just like that. So if you're kind of in a hurry and you want to get out here quick, that's a great option to do it, but you do need to pay some money. I looked around about different locations, and I looked up what people's thoughts were. More importantly, luckily for me, I was really into the improv community back home in Utah. If you're an actor, or I would even say want to get into the movie business at all, join an improv community where you are now. Try and see if they have connections in other cities, especially LA, obviously, and you will have an immediate family. And I was lucky enough that I would go to events in LA. I would go to camps for improv in LA that really got me friends that I could reach out to and say, hey, is this a good neighborhood? Is this not a good neighborhood? What do you think about this place? And I could send them things, listings and things like that. My biggest friend was Zillow. It's free. You can do it by price. And you can do it by the area you want to live in. LA is really kind of separated by different spots, and unfortunately as I learned, it's really hard to explain in a video exactly what it is. You're gonna have to come out here, and I would really stress that. I've heard some people just buying places and moving out here blind. I'd be really worried about doing that. What I did is I came out here, I drove around, I went to the places that I was interested in, I met the people, and if you're lucky, the people who you've met through improv or other means, they're looking for roommates or something, and so they help you with that. Now, the question is, where do you look? Because LA is huge. So what I would suggest is kind of think about yourself. Me, I'm from Utah, so small town, suburban kind of place is really kind of more my style. So I live in a place called the Valley. I live in Studio City, Sherman Oaks area. To me, it's not in the city. It's still really close by though. I'm real close by everything. I'm real close by the studios, which is awesome. I'm literally 5 minutes away from Warner Brothers, and like Disney and all this stuff. And so a lot of actors tend to like to live out here in case, hey, we need you on the lot, and they can head out that way. For me, it was more, I wasn't a big fan of living in the city. The pros of living in the city is you're around a lot of everything. There is a lot of acting agencies, there's a lot of studios, there's a lot of production companies there. They hold a lot of auditions there. In fact, most of auditions of my friends who've gone, like I said, I'm not here for acting, but most of the auditions were in there. A lot of theaters are around there. Good food, all that stuff. It's real easy to Uber or Lyft around. We'll get to cars in a second. But what I would suggest is really kind of think about what you like to live. I will say, if you plan on living in the city of LA, downtown LA, it does tend to be more expensive. For example, I had a friend who had a studio apartment that was $1,400, while I've seen studios in the Valley where I live more around $1,800. It really just depends. It depends on location. It depends on the neighborhood. I mean, it's obviously with location, and then obviously just what it looks like. I have a lucky situation where I'm living with 2 roommates, so the cost is pretty low. That's been awesome. But originally, when I first moved out here, I had 1 roommate, and my cost was above $800. And I lived in a great neighborhood. I lived right off Ventura, which Ventura, if you're in the Valley, is a great street because there's a lot of restaurants and stores and things like that. It's beautiful. However, the hard thing was I was literally paying $800. That's not including utilities, but I was paying $800. My room was much smaller than this one, and I loved my roommate to death, so that wasn't the issue. But really, it just came down to money and cost. And when I had the opportunity to have rent, bigger apartment, not on Ventura, but very close, I can walk there, less than 10 minutes, I took that option. But, getting distracted. When you're looking for an apartment in LA, as you see me doing here, and I was exhausted, so I'm trying to fill in the gaps in case I forget anything. Look for, I would say, if you're not in the city, look for Sherman Oaks, Studio City. Studio City tends to be more of the pricier side. North Hollywood, that's always a good one. Burbank. This is a little bit farther away, but Pasadena and Glendale, they're nice. They're a little farther, like I said, but they're around that area. So yeah, somewhere around there. If you're looking for something that's not too expensive, it's by studios. So, but at the same time, and try and live around the 101. The 101 is the freeway that'll get you to almost anywhere, especially downtown. Because I took a lot of classes in downtown at the theaters that I go to, and yeah, I just hop on the 101. I lived right by it, flew right down, didn't take me much time. I would ask about parking. That's probably one of the biggest questions you should always ask, is about parking, because parking is so crazy here. And really just ask about your surroundings, things that are important to you, Like for me, I wanted to go to IO West. It's an improv comedy theater, and the Pack Theater. Both of these theaters I wanted to go to, so I wanted a place that wasn't so far away. And since I'm by the 101, that freeway, it was real easy to find a place and to just hop on it and head over to the theater. Be careful. Do your research. If you have a friend that can help you out, that's always the best option. Comment below, or ask me a question on Twitter if you need some help with that, and I can definitely try and help you out there. Yeah, I think that covers most of what maybe I didn't quite cover in the video. And then I moved to LA.
It's happening! Woo! Found a place. I am moving from a little town in Cedar City, Utah, to Studio City. And another tip I'm saying that I kind of learned is I've been starting to apply for jobs about 2 weeks now. So as soon as I moved out there and knew that it was going to happen, I started applying for jobs. I want to be a writer-director eventually, but editing is going to pay the bills. I know that. So I've just been editing and putting in a bunch of jobs. I've got a few leads already out there, and because of that, so I would say start early if you're an actor and you're looking at getting into acting, and you're about to move out. I would say beef up your reel. Try and do as much things as possible. Get some friends together, and if there's a certain part you're like, well, I have a lot of comedy stuff, but I don't have a lot of drama stuff, have one of your writer friends write you just a really short something that's going in a reel, and use that. Editors as well. Try and find different projects, different things to help you stand out above that. And always, it's also awesome to have a friend who can maybe ask you questions. I'll answer any questions you have for me, because this is going to come out a little bit later, so I hope that I'll have some more options for you. Moving wise, I got a friend. He has a truck. It's just me, so I don't have a lot of stuff, and I just have my bed here, and my little nightstand. I have a TV and my console here, or my entertainment center. So I don't have a lot of stuff. So luckily, it's going to be really easy for me to move. If you're going out and when you go out and look for places, that's something also to keep in mind. If you more want to be a one-person, one-bedroom thing, maybe you should look at getting furniture or not. And then if you do, remember that's going to cost more moving out. Luckily, this isn't going to cost me very much to move. I'm just going to buy my friend gas and then get him some food while we're out there. Oh, another thing that I did is until I heard a for sure yes, I was still looking for places, and I was still putting in applications. I was still pursuing, because even though this was my number one pick, as soon as I met my roommate, as soon as I met this place, or as soon as I saw the place, I was like, this is my number one pick. I want this place. It's not like I gave up and I was like, you know what, it's either this or nothing, because then you could be sitting here for another couple weeks trying to figure out what to do. So luckily it worked out for me, but I had like 3 or 4 backup plans just in case. And I was honest with them. I wasn't saying anything. I was just being like, look, I'm waiting on one other person. I just want to make sure they're good and everything works out. If they don't, you're next. So yeah, that's what I've learned as I'm moving. More to come out when I get there, and maybe I'll give you a tour of the place. I guess I'll see you out in California. Shake it, Cali. Shake it, Cali. West Coast.
All right, I'm inside now. It's kind of busy walking out there. Hopefully I can do this while I have enough sunlight. I'm in my apartment. Got this beautiful view right now, currently. Yeah, so now that I'm settled, kind of learned a few things. Number one is I hope that you move out here with friends. Some people don't, and they just start from the ground up. But it's great to find a friend. Luckily, I have a few friends here. One has been kind enough to show me around, show me how the public transportation works, how the subway works. That's helped me a ton, because it's much cheaper to take public transportation. You got to be careful where you go, obviously. But he helped me tell me which stops to avoid, which way you can go to kind of avoid them. But yeah, because I really don't want to take my car. Luckily, the place I have here, there's not much car parking regulations. I do have to move one street over for street cleaning, but it's pretty cool that they do street cleaning. So, and it's only for a couple hours on Tuesdays. So make sure where you park, just try your best to study the signs. You know, you probably heard this. LA has has tons of regulations when it comes to parking. So that's why I'm trying to figure out the public transportation. All right, really quick. Public transportation is something that I really want to talk about because some of you might try and move out here without a car. I really stress against that. Cars can really make or break jobs. Literally, some places have it in their what's required that you need a car. If you want to get on set, you're going to need a car. Some people have been able to be okay with it because they can afford Lyft and Uber. Ultimately, it's just going to save you money, and plus you can go home when you need to. But maybe if you're like me, who I don't want to drive as much as I want to save money on gas, so what I do is I use public transportation. Plus, it's just a fun thing that I think any LA person who lives out here needs to know, because it'll just save you time and money in the long run. If you're going to live out in North Hollywood, or in the Valley, as I was saying, I live in, there's a great red line, is what it's called, station. There's a North Hollywood station. You can just type it in your phone in Google or Maps or whatever. It'll take you right over to it. You can park there. You can take it into Hollywood. It'll take you all along Hollywood. You can get off on the blue line, which will take you to Santa Monica. There's a lot of great things that you can do. So maybe just take a day and explore. Look up the times. Obviously, go with friends to make sure that so that that you're comfortable, and that someone who can guide and tell you what to do. And the website, the Metro website, also it has great tips to do that. So I would highly suggest to getting to know the public transit system, not only with the subway that goes under it, or the Metro they call it out here, also the buses. If you live in the Valley, you can walk down to Ventura, get on a bus, and go to Universal Studios, or it'll take you to a train station so that you can head into downtown LA. That's what I like to do a lot of the time, so I can save money on gas. So I think I mentioned this before. I'm here mostly for behind the scenes work, film, editing. Ultimately I want to become a writer, director. But you got to get on set in order for that to happen. I've been working really hard to do that. I push about 5 interviews a day. The websites I'm using are Film and Movie Pro, Staff Me Up, and then I just check Craigslist every once in a while. You got to be careful with Craigslist, just make sure everything they're saying is legit and whatnot, because sometimes you'll find some gold nuggets on Craigslist. So it's been a week, and after tons of applications I've submitted, I'm starting to get in there. Just get them out there. Just post as much as you can. It's like I said, it's great to have friends already here to help you kind of either give you advice or maybe even get you jobs. Like
you gotta eat, and if they're really truly your friends, they're gonna want to help you not starve. Let's see. Also, when I got here, one of my friends, and also I just went on Facebook and searched a bunch of like PA assistants or assistant editors or editor forums, because there's literally forums where people will post jobs and you can go on there and I would even suggest, if you're an actor trying to get out here, I would suggest trying to pick up a few PA jobs, because I see them happen all the time, and they get you on set. And I know you want to be on set acting and being in front of the camera, but that's just the way to go.
So I mentioned here Facebook, and I kind of glanced over it, and I want to kind of go more into depth with that. I did something that I really think will be helpful to new people coming into LA. What I did was, with the help of my friend, I went through and I joined a bunch of groups. There's like film making LA jobs, there's comedy jobs, there's writing jobs, there's if you join, like I said, if you join a theater, a lot of the time they have Facebook forums that a lot of members post, hey, my friend's looking for this job, looking for this job. It really is about networking. You'll hear that a million times. You won't believe it until you get your first job from a friend that you had an improv class with, that you're like, oh, wow, thank you. You gave me a really high-paying job. Thank you. So what I did, I joined all those groups, and then I know this is really annoying, but what I would literally do was turn on notifications for every single one of those forums. So anytime someone posted on there, I would get a notification. This is great when you're first starting off. It's going to be annoying. You're going to look and have like 30 notifications, but the great thing is, it really is timing. Because I have seen a comedy job, and obviously that's what I like to do. Someone post, hey, I need a comedy editor. If I post maybe like, an hour later, there's already 10 people that have submitted. And, we're all human. So, if you got 10 applications, by the 6th one, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, is this over? And so you got to keep that in mind. So that's why I would do that, because then as soon as someone posted something, I saw it, I jumped on. I always have your resume and your reel, whether you're an actor or whatever, ready to go. I had it on my phone too, so if I'm walking around, I can hurry and pick it up, send it to them really fast. Make sure that it looks good, and make sure that you don't have spelling errors and things like that. I'm the worst speller in the entire world. But just have it ready to go, so that wherever you are, whenever you see a post, you're ready to send it and submit it. It's a trick that I kind of developed. I'm sure others do it, but it's one that really has helped me. Because when you're starting, Craigslist and Facebook are going to be the quickest way to find work. Those other jobs I mentioned, or those other websites I mentioned, I didn't get a lot of work from them. A, because you had to pay to get ahead of the line, and B, there was so many people on them already. And a lot of people who post on Facebook or Craigslist are people who are either willing to give new people a chance or just need someone quick. And if you're there and you have what they're looking for, they'll hire you. I would also suggest to really get involved with a theater, improv theater, a sketch theater, stuff like that, because you will meet so many people who want to do what you want to do, or are doing what you want to do, and can help you get in there. So I know a lot of you, I've met a lot of people who come out and just want to do it from the ground up, but trust me, it gives you kind of a leg up if you do that kind of thing. Plus, a lot of, I've been on set, and a lot of casting and directors, and a lot of directors just in general, want people to have improv experience, at least a year. So if you don't have improv experience, go and do that. Start at your local town. They might even be able to point you in a direction of a theater that would work and fit for you. It's always great if you can be friends with your roommates. So I would go out of your way, because if you live, I mean, this is, I guess, life advice, but if you live with someone who you don't really know and you are going to live with them for a while, you probably don't want to make it miserable. So I would say, if you're going to the store, ask them, hey, can I pick you up something? Hey, I'm going out. What are you doing? It just makes things easier, and it makes living in LA much worse if you can't get along with your roommate. And if your roommate isn't about getting along with you, move. There's so many places available to LA. Really explore your environment. If you don't feel comfortable exploring your environment, then you might want to move. But, bring your roommate with you. They probably know where all the good stuff is. Find out public transportation, because, like I said, it literally is going from maybe $20 to $10 to $20 on parking, when you could be spending $1 or two getting to or from. So I have one of my first interviews for editing a documentary, and I hope I can get that. That's going to happen Wednesday. E3 is coming up. I'm going to go do that, and I'm going to ask around a lot of video game people about writing, just to find out how they get their writers, because I would love to write for video games someday. Yep. That's it for this one. Yeah. LA has a lot of good food. It's probably one of my other favorite things about it besides filmmaking. So, more to come.
Everything is A-okay, yep, because I'm strong as an OAK. And oh, the money don't grow on trees, and the B-R-O-K-E. Everything is A-okay, yep, because I'm strong as an OAK. And oh,
Alright, well, I'm here in a hotel, swanky. I'm about to go to Disneyland because I spent a whole week on my very first big high-budget production as a PA, and it was exhausting. We did over 12-hour days, we did a bunch of stuff, but I heard it was kind of irregular. They asked a lot from the crew and things like that, so some tips I wanted to say about if you want to be if you're looking at trying to get into film on the behind the camera stuff, being a PA is a great way to do that. I got to meet a lot of people. Be the friendliest you can be. Work hard, because you could be the friendliest person in the world, and if you're not doing work, then people are going to know. And sadly, we had a couple people on the set that we were working on that were not hard workers, and it was kind of made things really hard and not very enjoyable at times. Overall, it was a great experience, though. I would say, work hard, be nice, do whatever's asked of you to do, and if someone asks to volunteer for something, to do something, volunteer to do it, as long as it doesn't interfere with your job. Let's see, get ready to drive a lot. They ask you to drive to the set, so if you don't have a car, it's really hard. That's something I would try and stress, is to have a car before you come out. It's not the end of the world, people figure it out, but it definitely is a plus. In fact, some PAs don't even get hired unless they have a car. Let's see. Be honest. There's no reason to lie. If you mess up with something, just be honest and say what happened. They love honesty over finding out, the next day that something happened. Yeah, like I said, I worked over 12-hour days. I'm sitting here tomorrow, about to go to I'm sitting here tomorrow. We're about to go to Disneyland, and so really, just make sure you have some fun. Like, keep your budget, and make sure you have time set aside to really make sure you have in your budget to just have fun, because you're going to have some really stressful sets like I did. And yeah, and then as far as crew or acting goes, if you want to acting, really easy to get on as extras, to start making some money and doing that. Do what you're told. Don't overstep your bounds on the crafty table. Eat and stay hydrated, but don't take full things of crafty. That was my big job, was doing crafty, and a lot of actors would just take full things and save them. But really, try, and it's a great way to get started. Being extras is a great way. You get to know people. Everyone's working on a project and they want to help you out. And if they like you, they'll put you in their projects. So just work hard and treat people, even people who you know aren't really high up on there. Because here's the thing: the director who I worked with on this last project was a PA. And if you treat PAs badly, who knows when they're going to be the director or the casting director or the producer of the next project you want to be a part of, but you treated them badly, so they're not going to put you in there. That's about it right now that I can think of. Really just have fun. Do what you want to do. This is being a PA really helps you understand where you want to go. Mention to people like, hey, I really want to be a second AD at one point, and and then they start training you and getting you work. So have fun, work hard, ask questions, and be honest, and be nice to people.
Awesome. Well, I've been editing, and as you can see, it's a new day, but I wanted to real quick jump in and talk about when you actually get on a set. So you've found a place, you've networked, you've talked to people, you've made friends, maybe you found a quick post on Facebook or whatever, you have a resume, you started building up a resume. Once again, I would even say start to build up your resume, start working on your own projects right now at home. If you're going to take a year or so to get ready, start filming your own stuff or get involved in your own community to build the resume, so that when you come out here and you're going to get on the set, quickest way to get on set is being a PA. Have a resume as a PA. Even if you make your own movies, I mean, you're your own PA, so you can put that on there as your resume. Whatever it may be, you get a job, now you're on set. This video I really explained it pretty good about what I feel you need to do when you're on set. I'm going to say this right now: once you're on set as a PA, networking does not stop. Because unless you want to be a PA for the rest of your life, hey, you made it. Congratulations. And hey, there's a lot of people out there who are PAs that love it. So good for you guys. And I think that's awesome. I've been a PA maybe 4 times, and I'm done. I'd rather edit or work on a few other things. I just want to stress this again. When you're on set, you're networking. So put yourself in other people's shoes. If you want someone to work on your project and you see them just sitting around, not really being fast, like you don't want to work with them again because you don't think they're hard workers. So when you're on set, here's the key. Always volunteer to do work. If someone's like, can someone do this? Volunteer. If you see something that needs to be done and you remember, oh wait, we did this yesterday, go do it. Even if no one recognizes it right away, they will eventually. And if they don't, maybe it's a pretty toxic set. I won't lie, a lot of the PA stuff that I've worked on, it was kind of a toxic set in the sense that people were kind of mean. And in this one in particular that I'm talking about, I remember my very first day, I walked on set and I was the crafty PA, like you were hearing me saying, which means you just take care of crafty. And while I was taking care of crafty, my boss, she walks in, starts yelling at me at the top of her lungs about how this is really bad on me for being next to crafty, and you're just hanging around crafty. She hasn't even been here for 5 minutes. You're in here crafty, you're terrible PA, like why should we keep you on, blah blah blah. I've never met this woman in my life. And this sad unfortunately happens on sets sometimes. So I just turned to her very calmly, very collectively, and I said, well, I'm the crafty PA, and unfortunately, that's my job. I have to be here in order to... And she was like, oh, you're the crafty PA? Sorry. So, and you know, it sucks because unfortunately there is that unfortunate thing in Hollywood where people feel like they need to be in charge of everybody and they get to treat people like shit when really they don't. In any line of work does not give you the right to treat another human being like shit. So one of the greatest but also downfalls of LA is, you can get on set and then you can get on tons of sets on here, but just as quick as you can get on them, you can get off on them. But what I mean by that is, if you're not feeling the set and you're not in a good state of mind and it's not great for you, go. Like, I know it sucks. They have to pay you. It's the law. They'll pay you as much as you've been there. But don't feel afraid to leave if it's just not what you're feeling. What you want to do is find those sets that you work hard in, that they praise you for their work. And don't get me wrong, you're going to have bosses that want things done a certain way, but there's a way to go about it, if that makes sense.
Palm trees are swaying, Crosby's playing over the pier, and all the actors are leaving, calling in another year. Well, tonight I'm gonna cover the apartment with lights and put a
Well, hello there, everybody. It's been a while, and I'm moving out again. I'm still in LA. I'm moving to a new place, just a couple streets over. Some of my really good friends that I met, and we found a really cool place. Sorry if the sound's terrible. Gotta have the air going, because it's hot in here. I was going to give you a tour of my apartment, but everything kind of happened so quickly. I've only been out here for almost 4 months, and now I'm moving again. So I promise the next time I'll kind of show you around and give you an idea for what we found. The new place I have is killer, and I'm really excited about the deal we got. And I'll give you more tips about that. Even this place, which is a great location, it's right by Ventura Boulevard. Beautiful area, Studio City. It's just really expensive. I'm gonna be paying $300 less over where I'm moving to now, and I'm moving in with some cool people. Not that I love her; she's fantastic. What I did want to talk about is food. That's something that I've really learned about here. I know this is gonna sound ridiculous, but honestly, this is the #1 thing that you can save money and you won't be breaking the bank, because it's the #1 thing, at least for me, that I spend on, because there's literally restaurants on every corner, and I'm from a small town where they're not even next to each other. They might be grouped together, but they're not even next to each other. Here there's literally restaurant to restaurant, and like a lot of them are good, most of them are, and especially when you come from a town where you don't have, from Utah you get a lot of various tastes, and there's amazing restaurants there, not dissing that. It's just there's a lot more variety here. And it's really tempting that since you're trying to run around and find jobs, that it's tempting to eat out. It's tempting to, feel that you can afford all this stuff, which you probably can. It's just that there's a lot of better things to do. And I know this is kind of almost seeming like a motherly thing, but seriously, there's really good restaurants that won't charge you a lot if you need to run, eat on the go. For example, Vaughn's has this $6 deal where you get basically like a big huge thing of chicken and 2 really good sides, and it's only $6. That's definitely not breaking the bank. Me, I'm trying to eat healthy because I'm a bigger guy, and obviously out here in LA everyone's very trying to eat healthy, and I want to eat healthy. So places like Trader Joe's and even Vaughn's, at times Ralph's, can get expensive because you want to eat healthy. But luckily there's ways. Meat Meat, it usually is very good for you. Gives you, I mean, it is good for you. If you're a vegan, there's plenty of other options as well. But there's also this really great store out here called Smart and Final. And I know if someone lives out here in LA, they're probably like, oh my gosh, really? But Smart and Final is really cool. It's kind of like a Costco or Sam's Club if you have one of those where you live, except you don't need a card or anything, and you get to go buy bulk options, which is cool because that helps me, because then I get, it's usually cheaper. I get a lot of it, and I don't have to go to stores often, and I make my own food. Now, luckily, if you're on sets, hopefully if you're on sets, they feed you at least one meal a day. If you're lucky, 2 meals a day. But if that's not the case, and sometimes, normally, they're not the most healthy food, but that's really up to you, because you can make that choice and that decision. So, yeah, so I'm moving out. Heading on out, give you a tour of the new place, and more tips coming soon that I can think of. Yeah, I want to talk about traffic. That's a big one. Yeah, so till next time. Real quick, let's talk about traffic. I know that's probably, with my friends moving out here, that's probably the #1 question to get asked. Isn't the traffic just crazy? Like, I couldn't handle all that traffic. Let me put your mind at ease a little bit. It's not as bad as at least I was led to believe. It's bad, but it's not as bad as what I thought. Really, just the things to keep in mind with traffic is you leave at good times, and just plan your trips accordingly. The 101 always gets busy around probably the time it gets traffic in your town, from about 5 to about 7 or 8. It's pretty crazy. And same in the mornings. And at night, also another place to always be worried about with traffic is the 405. Being from the valley, that's just where it gets pretty crazy. When you're in downtown LA, the traffic does get pretty tense. That's just how it is. It's just something you're going to have to accept. Like, if you want to move out here, it's just something that you can't really avoid. It's just what's going to happen, especially if you're going to be working on sets or running to a audition. Just plan accordingly. I always try and plan to give me extra time wherever I'm going. I know that's usually I try and say about an hour. I always leave an hour early, and I've yet to be late. Sometimes you'll show up 30 minutes, 20 minutes early. Sometimes you'll show up 5-10 minutes early. It just really depends on the traffic. Rather be early than late, And I know, me, I'm not a guy that likes to show up that early to something. But it's something you just kind of got to get used to. Okay, so now that we got traffic out of the way, this is kind of a moment. I think I should address this. This is something I've never seen a person address in their videos when making a video like this on YouTube or whatever. For the first couple months, I was very happy. I was kind of in the honeymoon phases, what have you. But then about the 3rd or 4th month, I'm not gonna lie, I got kind of depressed. Moving to a new place, not having a ton of friends. I was working a lot, which was great, but as anyone can tell you, work isn't happiness. I had great friends, that I moved into, which is here, and they were awesome and helped me out a ton. But there was a moment that I really got tested if this was the place for me. And just know that you're going to be constantly tested. And, you know, from about 6 months from when that other video was made, that, like I said, that was about 4 months in, you know, from that 6 months on, I had a lot of good times, a lot of awesome times. For example, I got to edit a really awesome pilot slash feature presentation for Olin Rogers. He's a huge YouTuber. I got to edit that. I got to work on sets with some great actors and filmmakers. I also got to work with one of my favorite YouTubers, and I'm gonna say one of my first YouTube inspirations. I got to work with Smosh on their gaming channel, as well as I got to meet them in passing. I got to edit the trailer for Grace and Frankie season 3, and it got put up on a huge screen in Times Square, which is awesome. And then I got to edit a trailer for The Wall, that's with John Cena, and you know, I had a lot of awesome things happen working on sets. I was assistant director, and you know, I did a bunch of my own little shorts and features, so I was working hard. But what's hard with being freelance, and what I just think everyone needs to know that I don't see a lot of people advertising, because I think they're worried about feeling weak or whatever, but I feel like this is the best advice, and I wish someone would have told me. Not that I don't regret anything, but you're gonna have hard times. You're gonna have to pick up jobs working at a restaurant, or you're going to have to, you know, once you do assistant director, a PA comes up and you're like, well, I have to make money, so you have to go to that. You'll have a lot of money in your bank account maybe at one point, and by a lot I mean enough to survive, and then at some points you're not going to have a lot, and you'll have to be eating top ramen and you know, the food that you had to eat, you know, in college or whatever. It's rough. I can't sugarcoat this for you. It's rough. I had a decent amount of money saved up before I come out here, about $4,000, and some people have come up with less and have been fine, but this is the worst part about living out here, is that you have high moments and low moments, and those high moments are really high and those low moments are pretty low. So during that span, I had some of the best things in my career ever happen to me, but also I felt like some of the worst things happened to me. My car broke down, and it sucked because I thought it was going to last for a while. I was taking the metro and trying to get to work and things like that. I had to do Lyft and stuff. It was a rough month for a while there. And then I bought a new car, and with not even having it for a week, someone backed up into it and the whole bumper fell off, and they didn't leave their information. So I'm sorry if this is a downer moment, but I really feel like there needs to be a hard hit of reality for you who's considering to move out here. I hope you move out here and it's smooth sailing. but the chances are that you are going to have something happen to you. I've had parking tickets. You're going to have to get one in order to understand. They're serious about it, and their signs are super. You have to learn how to do those how to figure out the signs and street cleaning. And I'm sorry if this is such a downer thing. I will say there is no other place I'd rather be. I've learned so much in the meantime, and although I get really nervous and scared at some moments in my life, LA can break you, but at the same time it can lift you up twice as strong. And I love that about this city. And I will say my final thought about all that this has happened to me through this time is you control what happens to you. Now, I had no control that my car would break down. I had no control that I would get backed up into. However, I am in control of money. And some people's pride can't be lowered that they feel like I have to be in LA, I have to be working the film business, or else I need to leave. Why? You haven't been living out here more than a year and things haven't started happening. You gotta have patience. So me, I've had to take 2 jobs. Thankfully they're cool jobs. I work at the theater that I love, and I also work at a comic book store, which is fantastic. I work at a comic book store in LA and I love it every single day that I go. And they're flexible so that if I do get a big job, they are flexible to change. And a lot of jobs out here are like that. So there's room and there's hope. And even though right now I'm at a very low moment, I'm still making this and I'm still want to help you. And just know that when you're in those low moments, you're going to be okay. And there's options. You just got to go and find them. And you just got to make that effort to ask your friends, ask people, say, hey, I'm kind of at a low moment. Do you have a job for me to do? Hey, I'm kind of at a, on those groups, if you join a theater, post on there and say, hey, look, I'm not doing so great. Just need some help. If it does come to where you have to move out of your apartment, make friends so that you can stay with them for a couple days. That's just going to happen. And I promise, just keep at it, keep hard. Tweet at me, comment below if you need some help and some, LA is an amazing town. You got to work hard and you got to you got to lower your pride, and just have fun here. Well, that's it, guys. I finally finished it, and I just want to thank you all for watching. I know that last part was a little bit of a downer, but honestly, LA is a great place, and if you're thinking about moving out here, come out here and try it. There's nothing stopping you to see if this is right for you, and only you can find out if it's right for you. So I can prepare you as much as possible, but really, you're going to have your own experiences, you're going to have to make your own friends, and you're going to have to find your own way. And maybe you should make your own video, and let me know when you do, because I'd love to see it as well. Like I said, comment below if you have any questions or anything like that. Tweet at me if you have any questions. Also, I really want to have a big shout out to all my friends, artists who you've heard throughout this track. Some of them are just favorite artists of mine that I put in because I like the tracks. Obviously, I don't know Tupac. But there's a lot of awesome artists that I've met out here, and I wanted to get them exposure. So please go check them out. All the links to their stuff is in the description down below. And thank you guys so much for following me on this journey. Subscribe if you enjoyed it, and if you want to follow me more into this crazy journey that we're going into. And really thank you so much for your love and support.
I'm gonna go eat some sushi, unlimited sushi. So if you don't mind, I'm gonna go. Click.
Opposite of your X-Man, damn. I'm just trying to find my lane up in your track beat. You complain we all run games, but you stay chasing the athletes. And too classy, yeah, we got nothing to lose. Don't be friends, we can become something new.